Hello, welcome to another Purple Insider Extra. Matthew Coller here, along with Sam Ekstrom. A reminder, if you want to hear longer discussions from Purple Insider, go subscribe to the Purple Insider podcast. Also, for our written work sent directly to your inbox, purpleinsider.substack.com. Go subscribe there and subscribe here on YouTube. All right, Sam, the Baltimore Ravens have proposed a fascinating new overtime format that I can't get enough of thinking about how fun this would be. One team decides where the ball is going to be placed. The other team decides whether they're going to play offense or defense in that situation. And here's what I want out of overtime, Sam. I want it to be more interesting. I want it to be more fun. I don't need it to be the college football format where it goes crazy and the scores are 70 to 67. I don't need that. But I do need better than just feeling still like the coin flip usually wins the game. So tell me if you like this Baltimore Ravens proposal.
I love it. I love that it came from the Ravens, who are constantly on the cutting edge. They're all about game theory. They're all about sort of advancing football forward, I think. And I think this is a brilliant idea. Just anecdotally, in the, what is it now, 5 or so years or seven years of modified overtime, it still feels like the winner of the coin toss wins the football game. And I know that the loser still has a chance, but this just at least changes the calculation. So let's play this out. You win the coin toss. Then you decide, okay, do we want to choose, where the ball is or offense and defense? You say, okay, let's put the ball at the offensive team's own 15-yard line. All right, well, then the other team has a big decision to make. Do they try to play defense against a team that's relatively backed up in their own territory and try to get the ball back? Or do you go on offense and trust your offense to drive an 85-yard field? Now, I think there is still room for discussion here, because based on the proposal that I read in that article, it sounded like they were suggesting that the first score wins, field goal or touchdown. I still do like the modification of not letting the game end with a field goal on the first drive. That still feels a little bit unfair to me. So I would like to see it play out. And I think there was one suggestion where I think maybe Belichick or the Patriots want just the whole overtime to conclude. Play like 7.5 minutes, play out the string. If both teams score 2 times, that's fine. Just whoever has more points wins, which I think would be a good change too. And it reduces, again, the weight on that coin toss.
I think there are some tweaks, like you mentioned, that they could make to this, because I would see the team winning the coin toss. And I assume they're the ones that are deciding where the ball gets placed, or maybe you can decide which one of the two you want. Maybe you can decide between playing offense and defense or placing the ball. It's hard to figure out why every team wouldn't put the ball all the way back at the 1-yard line or something like that, right? Like, why wouldn't you? And then force the other team to decide, do you want to try to drive 99 yards for a touchdown, or do you want to decide to play defense and then you hope to get the ball back? So there still would be some advantage there. Maybe there's a change. I think on a more broad sense, I'm just really into something creative here. They kicked around, onside kick ideas that were different, putting a 4th and 15, and then you decide, whether you want to go for that or not. And then we could have some wild comebacks, as opposed to, well, the game is over if you're down by 2 scores at the end, because you'll never be able to come back because the rules make it so onside kicks don't get recovered anymore. I'm for some creativity here. Football has always been changing and messing around with the rules forever. I mean, they brought in a replay, and then they took out replay, and they put replay back in. They've moved the extra point back. There's been all sorts of different changes to NFL rules throughout its history. So I think it's the sport where you can be the most creative and have fans get on board. So in just the more broad sense, I appreciate that teams are coming up with these things. I think the most fair overtime is kind of boring, though. It's probably just playing an extra quarter and then seeing who has the higher score at the end. And if it's a tie, it's a tie. I think that's the most fair thing, but I don't really want that, because that's not exciting.
Because walk-off touchdowns are fun, like the Vikings experienced in the playoffs 2 seasons ago. That's a blast when you can win it with a kick. Walk-off home runs are one of the best, plays in sports, or like an overtime goal in hockey. That's why you like it in football. So Caller, what would the drawback be to adopting this plan? Like, if the league approves it, I think they need like 23 of the 32 teams to give it the thumbs up. and probably then a 1-year probationary period. What's holding it back? It seems like such a more equitable way to decide football games. I don't, unless they're resistant to change, which is a stupid reason not to vote for it, I don't see how this doesn't go through.
That's what I was thinking, though. It's the same with the onside kick, where I think you want to see it play out elsewhere. I also love the XFL kickoff, which, if people aren't familiar, basically you kick off and then everyone is lined up and they don't start running until the guy catches it and sort of starts like a play. And in practice, it worked out really, really well for the XFL. And I thought there was a chance that the NFL could adopt it. I'd love to see them do that. But I think they want to see these things play out at lower levels first and then decide. Everyone's seen the college football overtime, and I think we can all agree that would be a little too ridiculous for the NFL. I love it for college, but maybe for the NFL, it would look a little silly. So maybe you want to see it play out in whatever conference games or something, or in whatever other league that pops up, or when the XFL comes back, and then decide, is that something for us? That might be a particular holdup. But in a way, I just want to see them try something else and see how it goes. Maybe you do it for preseason this year. See how it goes. Try to get a couple of those games into overtimes, or have it play out as if it's an overtime, even if it's not a tie score. But that's probably the hesitation before you just implement something like they did with the pass interference review, and then it turned out to be a disaster. You want to have a trial period somewhere first.
Well, I'll tell you what, I believe in Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, new owner, commissioner yes. of the XFL, to make the right decision and make this a part of their league, which I assume comes back in 2021, maybe 2022, whenever that might be. He's going to uphold all that is good.
Rock, do this for us. And what you can do for us is subscribe to the Purple Insider podcast. Subscribe at purpleinsider.substack.com and hit the subscribe button here on YouTube and fully immerse yourself in Purple Insider. This has been a Purple Insider Extra. We'll catch you next time.